Thank you and welcome to the show today. The topic today is the Martin Luther King Celebration 2001. And we're fortunate to have with us this morning to talk about the Martin Luther King Celebration 2001, one of the most preeminent scholars on Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. LBaldwin. Dr. LBaldwin is a professor of religious studies at Vanderbilt University. And of course, Dr. Baldwin, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you so much.
And of course, Dr. Baldwin, you've been with us on a number of occasions.
4 or 5 times, yeah.
As we say, you're one of the most prominent individuals dealing with Dr. Martin Luther King that we know.
Thank you.
And if we had a chance, and we do know that we're both in the same city.
That's right.
But if we had a chance to select an individual who could bring us the most information about Dr. Martin Luther King, your name would be the very, very top of the list. And you would be in the same situation this morning, whether you're from Vanderbilt University or whatever institution, because you've done quite a bit of work dealing with Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Baldwin, before we get into talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, let's have you to share with the audience some of the information that dealing with your background, your education, and some of those things that will sort of demonstrate some of the things that we've said about you up to this point.
Well, I guess I should begin by saying that I was born in Camden, Alabama, in Wilcox County, which is a small black belt county. I was educated in the segregated public school system there, receiving a high school diploma in 1967. And from there, I matriculated at Talladega College in Alabama, receiving a BA degree in history in 1971. I had a chance during those years to participate in student demonstrations, and that, in fact, was part of the inspiration for my scholarship on Dr. King. In any case, I had left Talladega in 71, and I matriculated at Crozet Theological Seminary, receiving an MA in Black Church Studies in 1973 and an MDiv, Master of Divinity, in 1975. And from there, I went to Northwestern, and I studied there, and I received a PhD in religion in 1980. I've taught at a number of institutions in the country, Worcester College in Ohio, Colgate University in New York, and now I'm in my 17th year in the Religious Studies Department at Vanderbilt. And I've devoted much of my life, my scholarly life, to the civil rights movement and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I've published 3 books on Dr. King so far, tracing his cultural roots, his legacy of ideals and struggle. And I've also tried to get at the international significance of Dr. King in my work. But as I said earlier, the inspiration for this scholarship started with my early life in the segregated South in Alabama and my participation in student demonstrations. Had a chance to meet a lot of people who were involved, leaders in the movement, and that was a great inspiration for me.
You know, Dr. Baldwin, you've mentioned the 3 books that you've written about Dr. King. Let's look at the scholarship on Dr. King at this particular point, because I think certainly we want to talk about what Dr. King means today in today's society. But look at it from the perspective of a scholar. I think the last time that we spoke to you in reference to this, that James Earl Ray, who was accused of assassinating Dr. King, was still alive. Dr. King, but Mr. Ray has died since then. And sort of bring us up to view in terms of the scholarship dealing with Dr. Martin Luther King.
Okay, since Dr. King's death, I think we've noticed several trends in the scholarship. Before he died, I mean, in the decade after his death, most of the scholarship consisted of biographical treatments of his life. In the 1980s, scholars became more interested in the intellectual sources of Dr. King, his intellectual categories. The scholars began to study him as a scholar, as a thinker, and not just as a social activist. That continued through the 1990s, and now we're beginning to get some attention among scholars to Dr. King's global significance. That is to say, what about his ideas about Vietnam and U.S. involvement in Vietnam? What positions did he take on South African apartheid? How did he come to this conception of a global beloved community? Because we know that when he was assassinated in 1968, he was talking about a global community, or the beloved community in global terms. So I think that, in a nutshell, sort of sums up where we've gone so far in terms of the scholarship on Dr. King.